idiots on a podcast. Like,
I don't know what I'm doing.
Runza sucks.
We don't know if any of that's true, but oh, Jordan, don't give me this technically crap. Come on.
Got personal this week.
Lots of stuff happened.
Chad Berger, Brian Dawson of USD.
Yeah, you're wrong.
You guys do it in a really professional manner, and it's awesome.
Good evening, Coyote fans. Happy Easter to everyone. Welcome to April already. This is season 2, episode 32 of the Howling Podcast, where we're mic'd up, nerded out, ready for some chaos tonight. My name is Jordan Decker. I'll be joined by fellow co-host tonight, Mark Wendt, and Hall of Famer Chad Berger very soon. New friend of the show and associate head coach of USD Volleyball, Michael Runde, stops by. Full recap of the week. We'll look forward to what's ahead, give our Maloney real estate Eyecharts of the week, and our Dairy Queen player of the week to close out the show. So lots to get to tonight. Quick disclaimer, the opinions on this show are Mark, Chad's, and myself. They do not represent USD or USD Athletics. Social channels, you can find us on X at HowlWithUs3, myself at JD6OP5, Mark at WDiamond605, and then Chad, at Chad Berger, BIRGER, at Chad Berger. Welcome those joining us live on Facebook tonight. If you don't follow our page over there, it's The Howling Podcast. Please like and follow. And then on YouTube, at The Howling Podcast. Please make sure you are subscribing to get alerts of any new episodes or content that we put out. Whether you're on X, Facebook, or YouTube, if you got questions or comments for any of the guys tonight or Coach Runde, feel free to leave those, and we might get those comments on screen throughout the episode. And finally, Instagram, just search _howling_podcast. As always, tonight's show brought to you by our friends at 19 Brewing Company in Vermilion. So before we get going, a quick word from our friend Katie at 19 Brewing Company.
Looking for a place where good beer meets better company? Welcome to 19 Brewing Company, Vermilion's first craft brewery and home to Coyote Legacy Blonde Ale. Brought to you by 2 USD alumni, Coyote Legacy isn't just any beer. It's a chance to give back to student scholarships while enjoying a refreshing blonde ale. With 12 rotating taps, a flavor-it-yourself seltzer, and homemade root beer, we have something for every Coyote fan. 19 Brewing Company. Good beer, better company.
With that, let's bring in the guys, Mark and Chad. Happy Easter to you and the fam.
Happy Easter.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're already here. April.
I did not skip church today. I went to church. So
I did too. No, we didn't skip church today.
Well, you know, it's always a great day. Guys, it's April. I mean, goodness gracious. Basketball season was a really long time. We're finally done with basketball season now. Ready to talk about some other stuff. Sound good?
Let's get to it.
All right. Well, Mark, go ahead and take us through last week's results.
last week's results: women basketball in the Fabulous Four, WNIT, dropped one to Illinois State, 67-60 to wrap up their season. A fantastic season, dramatic improvement over the previous. So shout out to the basketball team. We'll mention them here in a little bit. Tennis went to Kansas and lost 4-0. And track and field, the meet in Vermilion was canceled due to weather. So the pole vaulters and high jumpers went down to Lincoln, and we'll recap that here in a little bit after we get done with our guest, Jordan.
Yes, new friend of the show, as I mentioned. And we really enjoyed this picture last year at the Summit League tournament, not photoshopped at all. We've got associate head coach of the volleyball team, Michael Runde, is joining us tonight. Coach, what a great picture of us. And if you have the privilege and treat of watching us video live tonight, you can see this great picture. The lighting worked a lot better for you, Coach, than it did us. But do you remember this?
Yeah. Very authentic picture. Probably from 2013, maybe. Looks like my GA years. So yeah, it was a little cringy when I saw it at first. I don't know if you could see my reaction, but happy to be here, regardless of the picture. So,
Coach, I'll start it off. It's a good segue talking about your GA. For those that don't know your path and you know your career here at USD, you know, how'd you get into coaching? How'd you end up at USD?
Yeah, played a million sports growing up, and volleyball was not super popular in Eastern Iowa for boys, and so was always around the sports, played here and there, and going into high school, kind of gave it up just because it would have been a lot of travel if I would have wanted to play, and so just kind of started helping random teams, coaching, and then junior and senior year of high school started coaching club, and went to college and got in with Iowa Rockets, which is a club in Iowa City, very well established, long history of success, and coached for them for 4 years, which led me to a role at the University of Iowa as a student manager, and did that my sophomore, junior, and senior year. So really cool opportunity to learn from great people and travel around the Big Ten. And then it was kind of then where I was like, all right, I want to pursue this and go into college coaching. And so my senior year was planning on staying another semester at Iowa to start grad school and then kind of just work full time with the volleyball team. And then some job opportunities came up, looked at them, nothing kind of came to fruition. And then I was like ready to just go back to Iowa for another semester and then start looking for jobs that December. And the head coach at Iowa at the time said, "Hey, South Dakota's looking for a GA. I'm going to call the head coach." And I remember thinking, like, South Dakota? No. I'm like, I'm not moving to South Dakota. Where is that? Where would I fly into? Little did I know it was 5 hours from home. So I didn't know much about it. And she calls me and she's like, "Yeah, they offered it to someone, but he wants to talk if that person turns down." I was like, perfect, great. Not moving to South Dakota. Great. And then here we are, 12 years later. And so, was a graduate assistant for 2 years and then got my first full-time job at Southeast Missouri State, was there for 9 months and then had the opportunity to come back, which was 2016. So over 10 years now. It was a no-brainer to move back to Verm.
So, what are some of your favorite memories so far coaching the Yotes? You've had a couple, experiences. You've had some really great teams, some really great players. Do you have any, really memorable experiences you want to share?
I think the firsts are always really special. Being the first event in the arena back in 2016. We had crazy dreams of trying to get 1,000 people to our games and trying to average 1,000 people, and that's just the norm these days. Definitely that first game in the arena. I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. We have a lot of people who said they came to that game to see the building and to pick out their seats for basketball, and then got hooked. And so that first year in the arena was really special, and that was our first regular season conference championship in school history. First conference championship either way. So that definitely sticks out. The first NCAA tournament, making it, beating Denver that year, who was unbelievable, and we were young and kept getting better and better as the season went. This past year, going to Spain and Portugal was something that we had wanted to do for a long time, and one of those bucket list items for us. And so definitely getting that experience with our team, families, some of the fans and boosters that went along with was definitely a highlight as well. And so, I think kind of the program related ones, like the wins are awesome, but I think it's also being here as long as I have, just being able to be on their visit and then when they graduate. And yesterday, had the opportunity to go down to Lincoln. Madison Juergens, one of our former players, got married, and former volleyball players that probably stretched 7-8 years were there. Just a big old USC volleyball reunion. And I still remember her visits. I still remember watching her play in Cedar Rapids, Iowa at a club tournament. Still remember her redshirt year. And so just fun to have those types of milestones along the way as well, just to get to be a big part of their life, a small part of their life, and have those relationships that really grow into friendships when you're done.
Coach, I don't know if you've watched any of the NCAA basketball tournaments, in particular the women's Final Four here. There was a handshake line incident with South Carolina and Connecticut. I wonder if you have any good. Someone told me a long time ago to always watch the handshake line. Something's going on in the handshake line. Do you have any good handshake line stories?
Not that I can think of. None off the top of my head. I think you should try to be cordial. I remember one team, we played one team in the conference one time, and their coach was like, "We're going to give you a better one the next time around." Like, we weren't ourselves today, and we're like, "Okay, yeah." And then the next time didn't really go well for them. The second time either, and she's like, "I lied, wasn't any better." And so that was you try not to laugh, but it was kind of funny. But she's like, man, I thought we were going to be better this time, and we weren't. So, yeah, that's kind of really the only one that comes to mind. So.
And we actually have that on clip. Chad found that one. And no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. What else have you guys found? Have you found
our I team is on it right now. Our I team is on it.
Well, I wanted to ask about like challenging, and we kind of asked Leanne about this, Coach Williamson about this last fall, but like there was an epic story that came up in the 2024 Summit League tournament where there was a call that you just said in the net or something like that, and it happened to turn the course of the game. But how do you know when to challenge something, and what happened with that particular call?
So that one, we had won the first set, and we were up 2-0, or we were about to go up 2-0, and I think it was 24-23, and Omaha. Like, we get the ball, we receive, Kylan swings, and their small setter was up at the time who, so we knew we were going to set the ball out to Kylan, and then they were able to get a dig and then got a kill, and it was tied 24-24. And I'm like, the net is shaking. Like, I know, like, the net is shaking. And I look at Avery and I was like, were you in the net? And she's like, no. And then I was like, you got to look back, because like sometimes their hair hits it and it will shake. Sometimes like the ball hit the net earlier in the play and that's why it was shaking. I'm like, no, the ball didn't. And I'm like, she was in the net. And so I was like, Leanne, challenge. Like, she was in the net. And I'm like, I'm looking at the court and I'm like, did anyone see it? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, challenge it. And so then Leanne, like, and we had already lost one challenge, so we only have one left. And Leanne's like, so Leanne pulls out the challenge card, and right when she pulled that out, I was like, holy crap, I think I was wrong. I was like, panic. I'm like, shouldn't have done it. And it was like, felt like forever. And then sure enough, she was in the net. We go up 2-0 and then kind of rolled in the third. And so I was like, yeah, no, Leanne can have that pressure from now on. But it usually is a collective of what did we see. You trust the players a lot. Just because they know, especially like with touches and stuff like that. The one, and I will tell this to the team, the one that we do not trust them on is when they were in the net. If they get called in the net and they're like, no, I wasn't. Or I get, yeah, you were. Yeah, you were. So that's kind of the one that we don't trust them as much, but we rely on them a lot. Sometimes like with touches, it's hard just because like the cameras, the frames per second like might not catch like a micro touch. And so the obviously higher level, like the Big Ten, some of the Power Fours have higher frames per second. So when we played at Iowa, almost every single call was overturned, just because I would say most of the time people who are challenging, they were probably right. It's just whether or not the video evidence, if you were able to see it. And so, so yeah, we have to trust the team a lot, kind of go with your gut and hope it works out. So.
I have one quick follow up. Do you? Yeah. So I asked Coach Williamson this, and she did not. She said no. But do you track successful challenges, like the percentage of successful challenges versus unsuccessful?
No, not like a tracking it, but we will definitely say like, oh, we got a lot right tonight, or oh, we think that one should have been overturned. I think we won 3 of them in a set this year at Kansas City. Was that this year or last year? One of the years at Kansas City, I think it was this year. We won 3 in the first set. And so you go back to the days where we didn't have it, and it's like, that's a big swing, and so, yeah, no, like official tracking or anything, but usually aware of it.
We can start that for you next season.
Okay.
We can start that for you.
On the back of the Eyechart. can have it.
That's valuable space there, Coach. I think we could make it work.
Yeah.
All right. All three of us have been wondering this, but I'm going to ask the question. Why is spring ball so secretive? No results, no anything. It's just like we've got this coming up, but then we don't know anything about it on the website.
I would say like no results or anything, just because I don't know, it's kind of irrelevant in terms of wins and losses. Some people will put some stuff out there, and I think it's more so just yeah, I don't know if we're trying to be secretive as much as it is like we're not terribly. I don't think people are too concerned with wins and losses. Going into our first spring tournament, we said like, we talked about what was going to define success for us, and trying to do that really, really well. But yeah, not that it's a concerted effort to not put stuff out. I know some people try to keep stuff a little more locked down because of like film and stuff like that, like for the fall, but I don't. Well, our entire team returns too, pretty much. So there's not going to be a lot of secrets about who we're going to be next year. Obviously, we're far from deciding a lineup, but we didn't have that natural attrition, losing 4 to 5 people with to graduation, and so yeah, I think it's more so just I don't have a great answer for that, actually.
Just exhibition. It's just
yes. In the fall, we very much are like, don't put anything out. We don't want to box score out, like that sort of thing, just going into that first match. But in the spring, it's like we played 8 sets. We played 8 different lineups, and everyone's in there a good majority of the time, and just gives us a good opportunity just to play and not have to worry about it, the wins and losses. And obviously we're trying to win and hope we win, but it's not the focal point. So,
Coach, you mentioned the lineup there. Obviously you have a lot of talent there, and us bozos here on this show kind of are trying to figure out what the lineup will look like. But obviously there's some talent there. How do you navigate all that and figure out who's going to play where and who's going to get upset if they're not where they think they should be, that good stuff?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I've had you have people ask it all the time, like how are you going to replace this person? How are you going to replace this person? And one of our super fans, Mark Beekler, I think he's kind of stopped asking, like, well, what are we going to do without this? What are we going to do without this person? And it's like, well, over the years we've been able to kind of fill them in, and so. But we have we have a lot of talent this year for sure. And it's a problem that will stress us out in August. Right now, we don't have to worry about it. So we're not talking about lineups. We're not talking about this person versus that person. It's really just the spring is about making everyone better individually. And then when we get to the fall, obviously, we try to be transparent and talk about what we're doing and how we're going to go about it. But at the same time, there's not a perfect science of like, yes, this person's going to start and then they're going to hold this spot until this point, or it's theirs forever. We've very much tried to use our depth over the years, and you can, the years where we're very successful, you can pinpoint certain matches where someone came off the bench and helped us win a match. That was, we were down 0-2 against Florida Gulf Coast this year, and Sam Laird comes in on her birthday and absolutely changes things for us, and we don't win that match without her. And so and that's something that we try to instill in the team, and Sam was a great example of that, of just making sure that you were ready, but you were also supporting the people above you, and we try to, you can be disappointed in your role, but still push, the people around you and still be a good teammate. Like both of those things can be true. And so they do a really good job of it, of trying to support each other and, and making sure that they're putting themselves and the team in the best position that we can be.
Coach, you've also had some players kind of move around a little bit to different positions. How difficult is that for players to kind of learn a new position? So, like, for example, Audrey Nelson came in as a middle and now is playing the opposite side. So, like, how do you players step into those new roles?
Yeah, Audrey is so athletic that it was more so a matter of when than if she was going to be able to kind of make that transition. And so, just looking at our personnel, we're constantly thinking about how do we maximize, trying to get our best volleyball players and athletes on the court. And it's a challenge with with how many of them there are on the team, all of them. And so that was one last spring, knowing that we had Morgan and Amanda who had played a lot in previous years, and then Audrey who had played as well. It's like, okay, how do we kind of figure this out in a way that gives all of them opportunity? And and so that we kind of looked at last spring. She played out there in system balls, which are like when everything's good, like she was money on, but when the stuff when it was a little more off the net or a little more in chaos, middles hit the ball usually when it's a perfect pass. And so hitting a much higher ball was just very different for her. And so but through the spring, played it a decent amount, and then in the summer in Spain and Portugal played there a lot as well. But she was still playing in the middle because she definitely could have a lot of success there as well. And so I think probably when we got midway through August, and it was like, okay, like, we think this is probably what's going to be best for her and the team this year. But she will still play in the middle, just because of numbers, and she's also really good there. And so, yeah, it's something that you can kind of see a little bit just based off the makeup, and she and like a lot of others they bought in well in terms of like, they got to be on board too, because it's not easy going from one to the other and then going back and forth. But she doesn't mind it, and she's like, it's what's best for me and what's best for the team, and gives me opportunity, then I'm going to roll with it. So.
Coach, I want to ask about recruiting. And we've asked Coach Williamson before too, but just to get your thoughts on recruiting, with obviously like NIL and portal stuff, you guys do such a great job of naturally growing these student athletes for at least, 3-4 years, right? We're not seeing a lot of one and done transfers at USD. Are you guys, is volleyball, is that not only looking at like during the high school seasons, but is that AAU tournaments during the summer as well? Are you kind of having to look at all angles now? Are you primarily focused on that? Let's bring in some young talent and grow them here.
Yeah, for sure. First, just kind of calendar wise, our main recruiting time is the spring when they're playing club, which is the volleyball equivalent of AAU.
Okay.
And so we can go to these tournaments, and like the one in Kansas City that we'll go to this weekend has 70 courts. And so and we recruit very regionally, as you can see. Everyone on our roster but one touches the state of South Dakota, and then Catherine's the outlier in Wisconsin, which isn't even that far. And so there's just such good volleyball in our area when you look at like a 5-hour radius of us. And so that's where we just like really try to hit home really hard and try to know those kids. And we've seen a lot of kids come from similar clubs, so you have relationships with those people. Our continuity certainly helps that. And I think with the the portal, NIL, all of that, it hasn't quite hit mid-major volleyball yet. I don't know if it is a thing that will eventually look like other sports. I hope not. I do feel like we still have kind of the semblance of what the old college athletics is, but with anything, there's opportunity, and so we're constantly trying to figure out what the new landscape, how we navigate it to benefit us. And so we're constantly having those conversations with ourselves and our staff to try to figure out, how do we continue to get the best person and athlete that we can get. And so trying to think, you had another question in there.
Leave it to Jordan to ask 3 questions in one question. Don't worry.
You answered. It was just kind of like all-encompassing recruiting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just glad it didn't take me 10 minutes to lead into that question. Typically that one does. So
I timed it. It was 2.5.
You did a good job.
Not bad.
Yeah. These club tournaments though are you walk in and there's like the one in Orlando every summer. And Abby and Barrett get the pleasure of going to Orlando this summer because Leanne and I did it last summer. It is, I think, like 170 courts in one convention center. And so it's very, everything's on an app, so it's like super simple. But I remember still sometimes you walk in and you're like, okay, here we go, I got this. It's just loud whistles, but it's fun. Kind of a one-stop shop for all. So
two questions based on that. Number one, do you kind of know which players you're looking for or which clubs you're looking for when you go to those big tournaments? And then I'll answer that, and I'll come back to the second one here.
Yeah, I do remember Jordan's question now. Just in terms of like trying to get high school kids, we've not that we haven't been able to like rely off the portal, and not that we've had to, but we've been able to supplement it here and there. Like with getting Catherine and Sam, kind of adding some DSs to our roster last year. Sam, we had a connection with a little bit, just being a regional kid. Catherine didn't know much, have much previous relationship with her at all, but she actually lives like a mile away from Leanne's parents' house in Wisconsin. And so we've always said, like, if we can get the high school kid that we want, like, we're going to offer them. We're not going to hold stuff out just to wait for the portal. So there was that question. And then the other thing, yes, like we very much recruit like the same areas, the same clubs. We have, Kairos is one in Sioux Falls that we recruit frequently. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that for recruiting reasons, but I won't put the names out there anymore. Kansas City is an area that's been good to us as of late as well. Evelyn Dietrich kind of started that path several years ago, but when we were trying to get into Kansas City, those kids thought we were 12 hours away in Canada. And so when we finally got it known that we weren't that far away, and having Evelyn, then Cameron, and then now Chloe is coming in 2026, and then we actually have a 2027 who I can't comment on from there as well. And so trying to get into that area, always heavy into Minneapolis. I'm from Iowa, so we've had a lot of Iowans over the years, and then kind of go out from there.
Yeah. So like when you're out on the road recruiting, what's your go-to like food or meal that you kind of go for, right? Or does it really depend on the area? Like, obviously if you're in Kansas City, you're going to try to hit barbecue, right? Like, is there anything that you typically hit?
The Yard House is a staple of ours. Wherever we are, there's one like next to the convention center in Kansas City, one downtown Indianapolis. So the Yard House is Leanne's favorite. So the Yard House is a frequent. Outside of that, I think you have like your normal stops at certain places that you'll go. Kansas City will bring like food trucks in for lunch. And so that's really nice, instead of eating, something that's $25 from the convention center, that you can go get something from a food truck right outside. And so those are ones that kind of come to mind.
Coach, I tell a great story about walking up to Leanne at the radio show at the old lumber company one time, and I asked her just a dummy volleyball question, and she explained it with a napkin and a fork and knife, and explained some volleyball basics to me. If people have questions about just basic volleyball stuff, where's the best place for them to go to figure that stuff out?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume there's like stuff on YouTube. It's just the rotations of it. I think it's definitely what gets people the most, of just, I've had older fans say to me, like, why did Madison Harms ever come out of the front row? And it's like, why do you take her out of the game? And it's like, well, she has to go to the back row. Well, can't she play back there? And I love Madison Harms. Madison Harms was not going to play back row. And so, I think the rotations piece, and then a lot of the stuff at the rules, like with the nets and being in the back row and hitting the ball above the plane of the net, like a lot of those things are very confusing for people, because when you're in the back row, like you can't hit the ball above the plane of the net and have it go over. And so that's what's happening a lot at the net when you probably don't really know what happened, is usually involving a back row player. I was happy to see them get rid of the double rule. I didn't really know how I felt about it at first, but now watching the game, like it doesn't stop as much. It was a big point of contention with coaches because it's really hard to be consistent on. And so year one into that, I think has been a good change for our sport.
Yeah, so just a quick follow-up statement really is I started regularly going to volleyball games and a few times something would happen and someone would tap me on the shoulder and what just happened? I was like, I don't know. I was just waiting for people to cheer and I cheered when they did. So,
right. Yeah.
I would encourage people just to come. It's a blast and you'll figure it out as we go. It's a great time.
Yeah. Find somebody in the crowd that it was an alum or has been there a while and they'll help you. You can learn as you go.
You know those progressive commercials, the really funny ones where the people are doing like stuff and the guy goes, no, that no one cares.
Yes.
Or no one. That's me during volleyball where I'll be like arguing a bad call and then Mark or Chubb it. No, that's okay. Nope,
yeah.
We're allowed to do that. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. So
yeah, that's me at other sporting events too, especially basketball games. I think everything's a travel, and so I'm constantly yelling travel, usually for the other team. Obviously, the Yotes never travel. But there'll be times where I'm all mad about something like, well, Eric or Carrie don't seem too mad. So that's usually my gauge of like, okay, if they're not mad, then I don't need to be mad. So because I obviously am very biased when I'm watching those games.
That's very interesting you mentioned that because Coach Peterson actually sat next to us. Eric sat next to us at one of the volleyball matches at home.
Oh yeah.
And he was commenting on like how you and the coaching staff and Coach Williamson reacted to what was happening on the court. And so he was watching the same exact thing you guys watched for.
Oh yeah. It's like, they're our gauge for, how upset we might be. So he probably knew more. He probably knew a decent amount. His wife played in college and
he said he admitted that his wife knows a lot more and his daughter knows a lot more. So the rest of his family knows a lot more about volleyball than he does. I think he's willing to admit that. But
yes,
we should get him a traveling Eyechart, like a mini one, to bring the club volleyball tournaments.
So
this past year I got a yellow card up at NDSU and there is a long delay. Stuff was happening. Leanne won the argument, but we went to challenge and I went to go grab the green card to hand it to Leanne and I like smacked it off the table and it flew up in the air. And I think the ref thought I was throwing it. And so I get the yellow card and I was like, I wasn't throwing it. I just smacked it. And so, that was definitely a funny moment after that match. So do
you have the name of the official? We need to write this down for next. No,
I'm sure we can find it, Jordan. I'm sure we can find it.
I'm sure it's on the box score. But.
Yep.
All right.
So I have a personal question for you. I produce some high school sports and so if I'm producing a volleyball match, let's say at the high school level, I've actually talked with several high school coaches and some of them are like, well, I want to see how the defense is setting up too. But if it's like a for TV production, should we follow the ball over and show the offense only, or should we have a part of the camera being on the defensive side and how they're setting up and reacting as well?
Yeah, I think you got to be pretty zoomed out in probably a little bit of movement, but not a ton. From a TV standpoint of still being able to see what's going on the other side, I think is very important. I think you might obviously I'm just thinking about like watching a match on TV now. I think there's definitely a little bit of panning back and forth, but not much. I always, if I ever see stuff online of volleyball highlights and you can tell it was made by a basketball person because it follows the ball the entire time. So you actually can't really see what the people are doing. And so, a little more panned out, probably not a lot of back and forth just because, you want to be able to see, what the teams are doing as well. So fun fact for us, we would much rather watch it from behind. You can just like when I watch it on TV from the side, I can't really tell like where's the ball crossing or what is their block doing or where the defense is. And so like our cameras are from behind. And then that's how everyone films. Just a lot easier to see everything. So
I like that. So underrated seating spot in the SCSC in the bleachers.
Yes, I had a friend last year sit back there and he's like, I didn't realize how much that ball moves when they serve. And I was like, yeah, it's a knuckleball. Like that thing moves a lot. And so definitely encourage you at some point to at least take in a set or a half a set from one of the end lines. And yeah, because the ball, especially on the serve, moves a lot. So
when we go as a fam, the kids, and this is nothing against basketball, obviously, but I think our boys say "wow" more at volleyball matches than they do basketball. Like the serves, the digs. I mean, they said "wow" more this year than any Cam Fens dunk, and they said it a lot for Cam.
Yeah, those were impressive too. So
that was me segueing into kids and youth and what you guys do, not only in the Vermilion community, but maybe around the Southeast South Dakota, kind of the tri-state, quad state area. What are some things coming up for the youth around the area that you guys help put on?
Yeah, our summer camps are huge. So we'll have those couple dates in June, and we go full bore in July. Currently have like 1,200, 1,500 camp shirts sitting in my garage. So we're ready to roll when that time comes. We have like 40 teams usually for team camp. Have like 180 kids that'll probably be in the dorms, the 5th through 8th graders. So that's always all hands on deck. Yeah, it just keeps growing every year, which is a great problem to have. And Steve Mayer at the Wellness Center is great to us and helps us get some courts over there. And so those are definitely a big thing that a lot of good comes out of. Our players do a really good job, represent our program well, give kids a good experience. And we were actually recruiting a kid one time, and her mom's like, yeah, she came to your camp in 6th grade, and you guys are playing up at the Pentagon that year. So we went, and she wanted to wait and talk to the players afterwards. And I was like, I don't want my daughter to be bugging these college kids. Like, they just had a game. They want to talk to their parents. And she went up to our players, and they called her by her first name, and the mom was like, well, that was impressive. And so they know how much of role models that they are for people in the community, and really try to do a good job with that. But they're always volunteering for stuff, and they were looking for volunteers for the soccer tournament that Vermilion was putting on, and a lot of them went and did the concession stands and helped score, and we had the High Five Fridays at the school. Any stuff that SAC does, they're really involved with. And so especially this time of year, we know it's our time that we can do that stuff a little more easily. And so they do a good job of being very involved. So
love it.
Coach, so here's the important question. See if we'll have you back next season. Do you pull into your parking spot or back in?
I always pull in.
I knew it.
What was the correct answer? Back in.
Either way is fine, Coach. We're fine with. Mark has a certain strong opinion.
Mark clearly is not fine with it. Every time you park, you back in.
No,
he's the other way.
You said the right thing.
Yeah.
I said the right thing. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Well,
I would run in. There's that green dumpster in the dome, the parking lot, like in between by the tennis courts, in between the tennis courts and the arena. And one day I backed straight into that thing. And so, yeah, but then we were going up at St. Thomas, and this was a couple weeks later. We're going up at St. Thomas, and my phone keeps ringing. It was like the night before the game. Phone keeps ringing, and I didn't answer it. And so finally I was like, I think I should answer this. And the I pick up, and they're like, is this Michael Runde? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, this is Vermilion Police Department. And I was like, oh gosh, what happened? And they're like, your car was struck on an on-campus lot. And I was like, oh. And I was like, okay. And so I'm not even really ever sure what actually happened, but someone backed into it and like blew out the back windshield, and the back hitch was all screwed up. And I was like, well, at least I don't have to pay to get that part fixed now, because that's very damaged. So, yeah, that was definitely I'm like, can you give me anything, like any sort of context? And I'm like, how would you describe the damage? And he's like, substantial. Okay. He's like, can you come get it? And I was like, nope, sure can't. And so, yeah, but it all worked out, everything. I got my car back within a couple weeks. So it was fine.
Oh, yeah.
Good answer. Good answer.
Yeah, we've got nightmare car stories, but yeah, that's one of the most frustrating when you're not even in town and you get that phone call. Oh.
Yeah, I was like, and I didn't know where the spare was, and that it was but we figured it out. So yeah.
Well, you had kind of mentioned the summer trip that you all took this past summer as being one of your highlights. Is there anything planned for this upcoming summer, or is it just kind of going to be business as usual for the Yotes?
Yeah, a little more business as usual. That's a once with the way the rules written right now, once every 4 years, and so we'll go back to just the players. We don't have any summer access with them, and so everything that they do is on their own. They can like lift with our strength coach, but then open gyms and all of that is on their time, and so we'll as amazing as that trip was, this summer was also crazy. There's zero complaining on my end with it, but we went straight from Lisbon, landed in Philadelphia, and then Leanne and I flew to Orlando to recruit, and then came home for like 4 days, and then went to Dallas, and then so the summer was just a whirlwind. So attempt to play a little more golf this summer, and have a little more of a normal summer, but still busy, and a lot of things to look forward to. So
So do you need a caddy? Asking on behalf of
I have a cart, so if anyone just wants to ride in the passenger seat and come along with, open invite. So
gentlemen, sounds like a fun live episode.
Yeah.
Or just fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we did get a comment out there on the YouTube machine. Excited for the upcoming season. Let's pack the SC. So I think we feel the same way, right? We're very excited for volleyball season. It's only April though. We got a few months yet. We got 4 months and some change here before the season rolls around. So hopefully you're able to fill that time, and looking forward to see what the Yotes put on the court next fall.
Yeah, we're super excited. Just with the amount of people coming back. Feel like we've had a really productive spring so far, and have 3 more spring dates to keep getting better, and schedule is, knock on wood, fully finalized, and contracts are starting to get executed. And so hopefully we have that released, I would hope, by the end of the month. But looking forward to a lot of good volleyball being played in the SCSC, and then also all of our non-conference and conference matches. So it's I'll definitely be, I'm always excited when it's here, but we've got a lot to do between now and then. So including summer. So in the month of May, which is always really nice for us coaches. So,
well, yeah, like Mark said, hopefully we can get you back on again during the season in the fall. And thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Yes, thank you guys. This was great. Really appreciate all the support. It's something that we frequently talk about with our team and with recruiting, and it's not something that we ever take for granted. So thank you. I appreciate getting to come on and hang out with you guys. So
awesome.
Thanks, Coach. Great to see you. Glad we got you on.
Yes. Take care.
Go Yotes.
Go Yotes.
All right.
He's awesome. I'm glad we got him.
That was awesome, guys. Yep. We can just call it a night right now, can't we? I mean, we got a little bit of show to go over, but yeah, that was awesome. Love it. Yes. Yes.
Great.
Mark, news and notes.
News and notes. Calling all Yotes, April 17th. That's coming up here real shortly. USD Football Family Day, 2nd annual, the 25th, 1 p.m. Still no official word on tailgating. Football, basketball, volleyball season tickets are on sale now. GoYotes.com. Nick Rounds named Summit League Swimmer of the Year in the most obvious decision of all time. Carrie Amy, friend of the show. Carrie Amy, 2-time friend of the show, signed a contract extension through the 2031 season. Much deserved, and congrats up there. And her staff. So excited to hear that news. And the transfer portal, as we've seen with men's basketball in particular the last few years, we're in the taketh season right now, and that caused some hard feelings on social media. But the give us season's coming, so just hang in there.
All right. Well, you mentioned we talked about women's basketball and the incredible run so far this season. The WNIT run came to an end on Wednesday night at the SCSC versus Illinois State. Mark, I think we spelled Illinois incorrectly. Is that
Well, there's a lot of I's and L's
a
and
lot of I's and L's in there? So if we
Illinois?
messed up, don't worry. But this one, unfortunately, came to an end with the 67-60 defeat to Illinois State. Kind of a weird start to the game in this one. Neither team really wanted to do a whole lot right away. And then Yotes ended up with a 5-point lead at the end of the first quarter. Illinois State battled back and took the lead going into halftime. And then that third quarter, the third quarter was where the game kind of was decided. Yotes came out just ice cold out of the locker room, and Illinois State was able to get a little bit of a lead. And then the Yotes battled back at the end, but were not able to overcome that lead in front of over 3,000 fans at the SCSC on Wednesday night, guys.
Yeah. What an atmosphere. That's probably what I took away most from this game is 3,000 folks on a Wednesday night. Yeah. Engaged crowd. It was loud in there, and things didn't look great there. You know, like Chad mentioned there, I think halfway through the fourth quarter, we were down 15, and some folks actually got up and left. We gave them the Eyechart as they were leaving, but we gave them a run. We got it down to, I think it was down to 5 or 4 there. It was there late, and you just kind of figured like this is going to happen, and those people are really going to regret leaving. But unfortunately for us, it just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, we kind of had that 5-point swing there at that point too. It was a weird ending. But yeah, just a rough one for the Yotes. And you know, I kind of stuck around afterwards, Mark. I know you had the girls with you, so you had to boogie out of there. But man, just seeing those young ladies and how much this meant to them after the game, and how much not just the game itself, but like the season that they had and everything, you know, the ups and the downs, and being a part of the program and building up the program, and you know where they were at and everything. It was just phenomenal to see those young ladies and everything that they did this season. So kudos to everyone that was on the team this year, and they did a great job. Some of the stats we'll kind of put up here. You can see the first quarter, you know, the Yotes were on the top edge of that shooting wise. But that third quarter really was the difference here. You can see only 27%, 0 for 4 from 3-point land in that third quarter, as compared to Illinois State with 6 for 12 and 2 for 3 from 3-point land. So, you know, another discrepancy. We're not going to sit and do this, but the Eyechart did come out several times. If you look at the free throw attempts here, the foul discrepancy in the game was substantial, especially in the second half. So yeah, Doug, you did get the Eyechart several times, and it was
shocker. A Doug Knight game when we're talking about this.
The kind of you mentioned, Chad, only 5 free throws, and it wasn't like we were settling for jump shots. Like we were attacking the rim and just could not get a call. The other thing that pops out here is obviously yesterday afternoon, WNIT championship took place. Illinois State shot 29% from the field in that game. So we caught them on a good night, unfortunately, and our season came to a close. But like you say, Chad, I have nothing but great things to say about the season overall. It was quite the bounce back. So,
yeah. I mean, I don't know what else we can say. You know, we've been following along for the ride all season long. We'll pull up the individual stats next here. But you can see Molly Joyce had 16 points for the Yotes. What a season for Molly. I mean, I wish that we could have had every single one of the players on the roster on our show this year. And you know, they were just so much fun. But Molly just had a great season, played 38 minutes, played her heart out in this one. Angelina Robles. I mean, I don't know if there's enough things we can say about her either. I mean, such a leader. And I know whatever she ends up doing, you know, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, she's going to be successful at it because of the way she, you know, attacks things and how hard of a worker she is. And just looking forward to seeing her with everything she does. Patience Williams, another one, Elise Terabiatis. I mean, I can just list every one of these players and just talk about how important they were to the program, and it's been just fantastic watching these young ladies all season long.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was a treat.
I'm with you guys, and as someone that watched it on TV, unfortunately, I had the battling the flu bug. Killed me that I couldn't make it, but I was watching on TV, obviously. And Mark, as you guys said, the crowd, it looked amazing on TV. And I know they only show a little bit of it, but usually you can gauge a crowd at the SCSC by what's on TV. And the fact that 106 and 107 and 105 were pretty full. And then I had a couple other friends that were at the game that said it is a madhouse in here on that run when we got it down to 5, right? But to Josie, to Angie, to Elise, to Patience, and then the coaching staff. I mean, what a fun year. Picked to finish 4th, finished 3rd. Was it second highest win turnaround?
Yep.
In the NCAA, right?
Yep. Correct.
Yep.
No one's going to fact check us. Just say it's the top. Yeah.
It's the top,
Yeah.
top mid-major for sure. But can't thank you guys enough. As Chad said too, I wish we could have everyone on the show, and maybe we will over time.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
So, but thank you guys. It was a fun year. Our kids had a blast. I know all of our kids had a blast when we went, and that's what makes every single sport at USD so great is the interactions with the student athletes. So really proud of Coyote women's basketball this season.
Yeah. And if you haven't, I would highly, highly, highly recommend go check out the post-game press conference on YouTube under USD Coyotes. Angie gives some remarks there that are, you don't have to wonder if she cared about what was happening towards the end there. So like you say, Chad, what a tremendous leader. And she's going to go on to do amazing things. And I'm happy to say that we can say that we knew her just a little bit. So as all the seniors as well. So,
yeah. Well, so some of the cool pictures that came out throughout, the tournament, the season, and several other seasons, Mark kind of wanted to highlight next. So we'll bring up some of those pictures.
Yeah. So I saw Adam Pearson Photography on Instagram is where he's located. He takes a lot of pictures for USD. I saw that one of Angie there in the logo, which I thought would look really good in the garage, blown up, and like what a great shot. Well, if you go find his Instagram account, you will find many, many other shots that are just top notch. So I just wanted to. I knew we didn't have a lot of games to talk about, so I thought I would give him a shout out here.
Wow.
Next time we have Coach Amy on, we have to ask about the boxing gloves. Seems like it's something similar to Coach Petey's Gator belt. So we need more information there. But yeah, just a lot of highly recommend going over to Instagram, giving Adam a follow, and there's hundreds more, and they're all amazing. So shout out Adam.
Probably my favorite picture that he's ever taken though is my headshot at USD. So I mean, again, he's great, truly great. Made me look good, Way to make it about you, Jordan. I can already hear it.
Difficult task. Yeah.
Adam is a pro. He's a stellar human and really, really good at what he does. So, yeah, go follow him and go check it out.
All right. Looking for the perfect game day treat? Swing by Dairy Queen of Vermilion, Hartford, or Del Rapids. Whether you're celebrating a big Coyote win or just need a pick-me-up, nothing hits the spot like a blizzard treat, a classic DQ cone, or your favorite signature stack burger. From after-school stops to post-game celebrations, Dairy Queen is the place to gather, refuel, and treat yourself. Stop into Dairy Queen of Vermilion, Hartford, or Del Rapids today, because every day is a little better with DQ. Guys, I texted you the other day that the Dairy Queen of Del Rapids had an amazing April Fool's post the other day. These locations are doing some awesome stuff. Jordan, we've been to the one in Vermilion. Yep. We've been to the one in Hartford. Yep, they're doing some great stuff. So get out and visit
patio season. It's patio season at DQ.
Absolutely. But every week we pick a Howling Podcast DQ player of the week. This week, our player is an entire team, Jordan.
Yeah, so we're gonna put a bow on basketball, women's basketball as a whole this season. The Howling Podcast Player of the Week, presented by Dairy Queen of Vermilion, Hartford, and Del Rapids, is the USD women's basketball team. Studio audience.
Stand by.
All right. Finished season 26-10 record, WNIT Fab 4. Finished the year in the semifinals of that tournament. I don't care if it's the second, third, fourth, fifth string tournament. The fact that we were one of the teams playing basketball in April, Coyote Nation showed up and showed out for them the last few games of that tournament. So 13 new players, battled through a ton of adversity, and finished the season strong. Proud of the team, proud of the coaching staff, the student athletes. So the women's basketball team is our player of the week, presented by Dairy Queen Vermilion, Hartford, and Del Rapids.
I hit my cue on that one. Sorry, guys.
It's all right.
Yeah. It's one of those things.
Well, we don't know anything, do we, guys?
I don't know what I'm doing half the time here, just trying to steer the ship the right way. So what's coming up this week, Mark?
Coming up this week, tennis will be hosting the Belly Button on Friday. And then travel over to the cities and play St. Thomas on Sunday. Track and field will be at the Sioux City Relays. I was looking a little ahead on the schedule there. The Drake Relays, our favorite track and field event, is coming up. Get to maybe refresh an old photo.
Or hopefully get a new one this year, too.
Will that be the butt of a bunch of jokes coming?
Time will tell. Softball will be at Creighton on Tuesday down in the Belly Button, and then host NDSU, one of the few home games. We mentioned this last week. So if you want to catch the softball team, Friday through Sunday would be a great time to do that. Men's golf will be at the Tiger Invite down in Columbia, Missouri. Volleyball will be at Kansas City. I doubt they're playing Kansas City. They'll be playing some other teams, I'm guessing. We should have had a guest on. We could ask them. And women's golf will be at the Stampede at the Creek. I didn't put – that's in the Belly Button of America as well. So on Wednesday. So go golf.
Friday looks pretty nice for tennis. 60 degrees down in Verm. If you can, get out.
Yeah, absolutely. Tennis and then hit some softball too, right?
Hit some softball up. Yep.
Yeah. Sounds like a great day for some sports. Looking forward to all that. Well, guys, every week, right about this time, we do this.
And that's just what they wanted to do there. And all things considered, again, as you see the Eyechart cardboard cutout, how appropriate.
Through the review, the Eyechart made its way to the video board. It really injected some energy.
Our own Mark Wendt is famous for holding up that eye chart at men's and women's basketball games and volleyball games when officials make questionable calls. We give our eye chart of the week moments for questionable calls that happened either during games or in life over the past week. As always, the eye chart of the week is sponsored by Maloney Real Estate. Buying or selling a home can feel a little like game day, exciting, stressful, and you really want the right team on your side. That's where Maloney Real Estate comes in. When you list your home with Maloney Real Estate, you're automatically covered by a $25,000 seller protection errors and omissions policy included at no extra cost. And here's the kicker. That coverage lasts for 180 days after your home sells. It's peace of mind you don't usually get in real estate, and definitely not just a sign in your yard. Maloney Real Estate, more than just a sign in your yard. And guys, say it every week, but every time I drive by one of those signs, I think there's a lot more going on behind that sign in the yard.
They should cover our errors and omissions too. Illinois.
You know, a lot of I's, a lot of L's. They all look the same.
Yeah.
The Maloney Real Estate sign I drive by most often when I'm dropping the kids back off, it's got a sold sign on it. So a lot more going on, and they got the house sold. So congrats to whoever bought that house or sold it. So
yeah. both parties. Excellent.
Win-win.
Yeah. Yes.
The whole line, there's more parties, just sell that. Well done.
Yeah. We're very pro people doing stuff that they want to do. So, guys, this past week, it was a nail biter. It ended up being a tie, but Bunions wins the Eyechart of the week. You do not host a watch party when there is a home event happening. Okay, they're going to get our Eyechart of the week. We give them the tiebreaker. We actually discussed pre-show. Mark actually had a burner Twitter account that he didn't vote with that should have voted for that to break that tie.
That's on me.
Yeah, so maybe Mark does just deserve the Eyechart of the week. We don't know. But Mark, since you won, you have the Eyechart, so the honor is yours.
Well, thank you. My Eyechart of the week is going to go to people with very loud and often wrong opinions. Chad and I were at the women's basketball game on Wednesday night. A 2-point game at halftime. We come out of halftime and the possession doesn't go great for us, and we end up taking a shot clock violation. And a gentleman behind us decided that was the perfect time to boo extremely loud our head coach. I know Chad and I talked, and we were both going to say something, and thank God that whoever he was with said something before we did. Otherwise, there might have been a scuffle in 106 row too. And that also transfers over to social media this past week, where I saw some tweets from several accounts, from Yote accounts, just throwing mud at people affiliated with USD, with administration, with support staff, with other coaches, accusing them of lying. I'm not going to mention any names, but two of them are prominent accounts. They have a lot of followers. I just wonder if you're accomplishing the goal you're setting out to accomplish. I'm guessing you're not. I would hope that you would reconsider and think about what you're doing. As we learned on this show last year, where we casually mentioned if the GPAC was still a thing, someone commented on our YouTube video, not just some fan of a GPAC team. It was the commissioner of the GPAC, right? So you never know who's listening. And that would just point out that maybe recruits are reading your stuff. And I just wonder if you would still stand behind some of the stuff you're saying. So people with loud opinions and often wrong opinions, get my Eyechart of the week.
Yeah, Mark, thanks so much for that. It's one of those things where we sometimes we have feelings about things. We just got to kind of put those off to the side and maybe don't always just be a keyboard warrior right away. Mark, we lost Jordan for a second. Oh, there he is. He's back. Maybe he's back. We don't know.
Hi.
Are you back, Jordan?
I'm back.
Okay. Do you want to go next, or do you want me to go next?
Yeah, someone should nominate me. Did I get second place in the?
Yeah. Yep. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, it's good to be back on the Eyechart nominee. I took it off during Lent despite winning, I think, 4 times. My Eyechart this week is going to go to Gino Ariema. I don't care how many titles you've won, how many games you've won, to take that moment away a little bit from South Carolina there at the end of that Final Four game. It was just a bad look for one of the all-time great coaches and ambassadors of women's basketball. Talk about it after the game. I could not have actually been more wrong. I'm sitting there watching it with the family. They're like, "Oh, I don't know, the Dawn and Gino, what's going to happen?" I'm like, "No, they'll be classy about it. They'll probably hug, and then it'll be over." 5 seconds later, that scuffle or whatever happened where Gino was yelling at Dawn. Could not have been more wrong. Just, I don't think there's a place for that in the women's basketball game. Say it in the press conference, say it to Holly Rowe after the game, like he was doing during the game. But I don't know, it was just kind of a little classless of Gino, regardless of if Dawn did what he says she did or not. Just not the time or the place. Gino Ariema, my Eyechart of the week.
Yeah, not a good look. Not a good look.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and give my Eyechart. Mine's probably not as I don't know. It's a little bit more personal to me. Guys, I had a fractured tooth here a couple weeks ago. All right. I had to go in and get some dental work done. I'm not anti-dentist. I'm very pro-dentist. I go to the dentist very frequently. Okay. It's one of those things where just going in and getting that work done is such a pain. And I know that they have to do it, and I know it has to be done, but there's nothing like having someone yanking your mouth open and two people in there grinding a tooth away to put a crown on and everything else. It just isn't much fun. The amount of time, the amount of pain, whole left side of my face was numb for multiple hours on Friday. Not fun. Having dental work done gets my Eyechart of the week.
That's a good one.
Oh, yeah, it stinks. It is what it is, but I don't know what else to say. Guys, before we go here, we usually talk about the 988 mark.
Yeah, 988. So if you're a sports fan like I am, and we are, you might have watched the women's championship game between UCLA and South Carolina. One of the stars of UCLA, Lauren Betts, wrote an article for oh my gosh, now I'm forgetting
Players
the
Tribune.
publication. Thank you. The Players Tribune.
Yeah.
Go out and Google that and read that article. It talks about, this gal just won tournament MVP. She's a national championship. She's going to be drafted in the WNBA. And she wrote a brilliant article for that publication about her mental health struggles and what that journey was like for her. So like Chad said a couple of weeks ago, it's everybody. Nobody's above it. It affects everybody. So go check that out. I retweeted it. I retweeted it from the Howling Podcast account as well. So go check that out. Long story short, if you need help, 988 is available to you 24/7, 365. We would certainly appreciate it if you need help, that you would use that and keep you around.
Yeah. Well said, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
As always, thanks to our sponsors, 19 Brewing Company, Good Beer, Better Company, DQ of Vermilion, Hartford, and Del Rapids, and Maloney Real Estate, more than just a sign in your yard. The Howling Podcast is produced by the Wakanda Peach Company, LLC, out of Burbank, South Dakota. I'm sure there's plenty of stuff we messed up on, but special thanks to our guest, Michael Runde, tonight for joining us. As always, for Jordan Decker and Mark Wendt, I'm Chad Berger. Until next time,
go Yotes.
Go Yotes.
Go Yotes.
Good night, Vermilion.
Let's go! 3 idiots on a podcast. Like,
I don't know what I'm doing.
Runza sucks.
We don't know if any of that's true, but Jordan, don't give me this technically crap. Come on.
Got personal this week.
Lots of stuff happened.
Chad Berger, Brian Dawson with USB.
Yeah, you're wrong.
You guys do it in a really professional manner, and it's awesome.